I've sat in y'all's shoes here a couple decades ago. We don't have to date it too much, but definitely was there at Carlson Leadership Academies, and being in some officer training here, and getting to see it. I think the really interesting thing about where all you sit now is you're having to lead in a two-dimensional world versus a three-dimensional world, which brings with it all of its own challenges and trying to figure out this stuff as we go, kind of right in the playbook. And I'm really excited to be with you all here today to share some experiences that I've had leading in a digital world, as well as just some of the background that I've gotten for sure with SIGAP and sitting in the position that you all are, and the journey along the way. I'll probably take about 15 or 20 minutes, give you some stories, give you some perspective, and then really the key of these, as Sean was saying, is the interaction, the dialogue, the mentorship. So we definitely want to make this the first of many conversations as we go. So we'll have some fun here. Definitely, hit me up on LinkedIn. That's one of the things that I think is so special about this fraternity, is just the connectivity and staying engaged with you all, after the fact. And, matter of fact, Brendan was in my ruck group a few years ago, and I'm Sean for several years. So, these are the kinds of relationships that, that not just, start here, but they really go with you, lifelong and where you go. So what I thought we'd do to kick it off here and just get a little interactivity is we'll pull up a little straw poll. Normally we might do this on a whiteboard or, in front of the full audience, but we'll do a quick leadership poll and just get a sense from the group here of, when you think about some big leadership moments, what are the things that really stand out to you? So if you look at that question there, which leadership lessons resonate? So we've got Elon Musk landing a reusable rocket on a platform at sea. We've got Navy SEALs rescuing Captain Phillips' ship from the Somali pirates. Tom Brady leading the Bucs to this year's Super Bowl in his first year. I don't think it can go. I didn't think it could go negative. I see some negative, Sean. I think people are voting against Tom Brady on that one. Or Moderna, Pfizer, launches as you think about what really has happened there. So when you think about leadership lessons and what those are, what are some of those things, and then also, why do you think things might fail, right? When you think about what actually goes out there. So what are some ones that resonate? Obviously, we could have, I don't know, hundreds of these possible scenarios that could be there. Man, we got it's a good running here. I'm surprised. Brady's he's good. We get to watch these as facilitators in real time, and not to lead the witness here or anything, but this is great. Well, good. Well, why don't we go ahead and see where we are with the overall poll here, and then we'll have some conversation about it. All right, so we've got the selection of Navy SEALs rescue Captain Phillips' ship. So I set you up a little bit on this one, and I'm going to digest the four that we have. So we talked about Elon Musk landing that reusable rocket. About a third of the group thought that. Navy SEALs rescuing Captain Phillips. 40% of the group thought that was the one there. Tom Brady actually got 25% of the vote. Surprised to see that. And Moderna and Pfizer launching the COVID vaccines, about another third. So let's hit that with with kicking off with some Navy SEAL action there, and really the backdrop of all these. I picked these because what you see from a leadership standpoint is what I would call sustained excellence over time. Sustained excellence over time, and for you all as chapter presidents, as leaders of your organizations and your universities, it's one thing to do something once or twice, but really sustained excellence over time is something that, really is what I believe defines a leader, and really focusing in on that, not just hitting it once or twice, but many times. And I'm going to come back to this as we think about vision for what you have personally, as well as for your chapters and the areas that you lead. So when you think about that, if I think about, Navy SEALs, they've been around for a while, but, they were able to execute that mission in literally a matter of hours before having to go out there and figure it out. So from the time they found out about the mission to the time they were there to the time they were done was less than 2 days. They got the mission done. When you think about that, the ability to execute, the ability to plan, the ability to orchestrate all of that, ahead of time. You think about, that those leadership lessons that you picked as kind of your front runner there. Think about that, just the preparation. I'm a really big fan of the quote. It's a Louis Pasteur quote. It says, "Chance favors the prepared mind. Chance favors the prepared mind." So that preparedness for you all as leaders, thinking about what is it that you need to go 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead of the rest of the organization that you're leading. It's so critical, because then when chance comes your way, that preparation can kick in, right? You can't rely on luck. Luck isn't always going to come your way, but if you're prepared when luck happens and we're able to execute on it. When you think about those other examples I gave you, be it Elon Musk, onto his literally 4th business, there with, think before that, selling, PayPal, and then he's got obviously Tesla, which has kind of gone through the roof here. We can have a financial discussion outside of this in markets. I love that. So that's my wheelhouse. We're really focused on that, SpaceX. He has a vision. He's something that he's done time and time again in different ways. Maybe I wouldn't totally emulate him just in his leadership style. He can be a little bit relentless there, but sustained excellence over time. He's definitely demonstrated that across the many decades that he's been doing this. Similar with Tom Brady. Love him or hate him, the guy has kind of got some staying power. That's really something that's critical, I think, in a leader. That's sustained excellence, someone that can execute day in and day out, regardless of what the plan is, regardless of what that page in the playbook is, rewriting the playbook and defining that. So your seat, as leaders. And the other one, I think, with just the vaccine, the development, the stuff that's happened here, this year, that was years in the making. That's some of the behind the scenes work. I'm sure a lot of you have studied this, be it if you're a business major or a pre-med major or a bio major or an economics major. You could tie this to any one of those to say, how did this actually come about, and what were the conditions to let it become what it was, and how do they actually lead that forward? So I kick off with these examples, and again, there could be hundreds of them, different industries, different facets of the business. It all took leadership. It all took sustained excellence over time. It all took that commitment to get the job done, get the mission done, and have the vision to be able to set the vision of what it was. And that's really kind of the crux of what we're going to talk about first here is that vision. And what I'd love for you to take 30 seconds to think about here is, not a vision for your chapter, not a vision for, the things that you're going to do there, but really a vision for yourself. So I want you to think about one word, okay? One word that when you think about a vision for yourself, if you were to skip ahead 5 years or 10 years, that one word where if that were to be a descriptor of you as a leader and as an individual, what would that one word be? So think about that. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, your vision for yourself, what would that one word be? And just take a second to write it down. Awesome. So I want you to keep that word in your mind, and we're going to come back to it a couple of times, because that's something that you need to have as a leader is an anchor point, is that focus, is that ability to come back to that point and remind yourself, what is that post? What is that thing that's going to guide you there? That's going to be able to make sure that you're getting up and you're focusing in on what that journey is. So the second polling question that we had here was on, what do you think the reason the change efforts fail the most? And there's an awesome article, if you haven't read it or seen it, by John Cotter, and it's very strategically called "Why Do Change Efforts Fail?" And while we're not just talking about a full change effort, with each of you individually or with your chapters, you might be on the top right now. You might be kicking butt, doing everything you need. The reason we talk about change efforts is the rapid way that the world and any business is changing, right? For me as a finance and economics guy, and looking out across $1.5 trillion in client assets under care and tens of thousands of branch teams that we support, is really saying, look, you're not going to stay at the top or the bottom. Things are not flat. You're either going up or you're going down. And so really to think about what is that constant that's out there, and that is change, whatever that is, you know, the environments around us. And the 5 questions that we put out there, why do you think change efforts fail, was the 5 of them were not establishing enough urgency, not creating a powerful enough coalition, so the folks around you, empowering them, leading them, inspiring them, lacking of vision. 4th was under communicating a vision, and 5th, not removing obstacles. It's a little bit of a trick question because Cotter would say they all come into play. And the 2, you know, that are most highly voted here for this group is under communicating the vision, which is the exact other side of the coin, and rightfully so, of actually having a vision, right? If you lack a vision, well, you sure as heck can't communicate it, or you might under communicate it even if you have a vision. So let's focus on those 2 results that you all put out there around. Number 1, having a vision. And then 2, once you have it, how do you communicate it back? Think about that word that you put down there for yourself, because for you as a leader, as the chapter president, as the individual who's really going to be looking forward there, folks are going to be looking to you to figure out, you know, to help communicate that vision and what it really is. So let's step back and chat for a second. I'll give you a quick story. You know, Sean mentioned that do a lot of ultra races. You know, we actually have I keep my hat not too far away from me. So Team Bravery, if you can see that. So Team Bravery is like our foundation, our mission, the things that we do. My niece, her name is Avery. She's 17, almost 18 years old now. About 10 years ago, Avery got diagnosed with a rare genetic condition called Fanconi Anemia. And we formed Team Bravery. And Fanconi Anemia doesn't have a cure. And, you know, matter of fact, the only thing that'll sustain someone who has it beyond being a teenager is a bone marrow transplant. So if you go back a little over 10 years ago, you know, Avery went in, she had all this work done up at the Mayo Clinic, working with the amazing doctors and staff and faculty up there. And she had a 10 out of 10 match, you know, out of Germany, was able to fly it over, bone marrow transplant, and she's doing great. But the thing about Fanconi anemia is that even when you get that, you're not out of the woods. There's about 1,000 to 5,000 times the amount of secondary cancers versus the rate of the regular population. So in other words, leukemia, other kinds of blood cancers, things that might come out there have a much higher incidence rate. Matter of fact, we don't know the actual lifespan of someone with Fanconi anemia. The longest living one today is in their 30s, so we don't really know what that is. So we've raised money and funds for the Fanconi Anemia Research Fund under Team Bravery. You know, so we do these crazy challenges. You can look them up. I can send them out to you. You know, each year, you know, we've done things like raced in the world's longest kayak race. You know, it was a 340-mile race, you know, on the Missouri River from Kansas City to St. Louis. You know, we biked 7 states in a little over 24 hours in a single day, you know, all of us there. But the one I want to talk to you about here really quickly is one we just did 2 months ago. So there's a trail out in the Badlands of North Dakota. It's called the Madahe Trail. It's 144 miles. And the fastest known time, because you can't just do something, you got to try to, you know, be the top. You're the leader, right? You want to set the bar high. What's the new standard? What's that new bar? And so 48 hours, just over 48 hours was the fastest known time that anyone's ever run this. Of course, we can't just do it. We've got to complete it. When you think about vision and then communicating your vision, so here's one of the things that we do is whenever we do these challenges, be it by foot, by water, by bike, by whatever, we always set an A goal, a B goal, and a C goal. Right. And this is something that I think really transpires, you know, back toward what I do from a leadership standpoint, which I'll get into a little bit, what I do from a family standpoint, what I just think about from a life standpoint, A goal, a B goal, a C goal. So our A goal was to get it done in 48 hours, right? Point, finish to finish. It's over 20,000 feet of elevation gain with some of the harshest terrain that you could possibly imagine. Our B goal, we wanted to hit 100 miles in 30 hours because I call it the challenge within the challenge. We signed up for a virtual 100-mile race in between there, and we needed to complete that in 30 hours. It was called the Beast of Burden Summer Virtual, since we're all virtual here, 2 dimensions. And then our C goal was just get the damn thing done, right? So you kind of, as you go down there, you think through, okay, if I can hit A, then I can hit B and C. Okay, if I can't hit A, then I can hit B and C. If I can't A or B, maybe I can still hit C, and getting the team there. So the team, it's myself, my father-in-law, who's pushing 70, my brother-in-law, and we always have a fourth. In this case, my friend Michael. The funny thing is, we always have four. The three of us have done all of them: my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, myself. But we haven't had anyone that's repeated as our fourth. So we're always looking for that ringer. So if you want to do something here in 2021, we're still going through the motions of figuring it out. So 144 miles through this terrain, and this thing's remote. You have to stash your own water, your own food. You're at least 10 to 15, 20 miles off like anything. There's nothing out there cell phone service. Fortunately, my wife and my friend Michael's wife were out there in an RV, kind of up and down, and where we needed stuff. But when we set out at about 8 o'clock on a Friday morning, trying to get done by 8 o'clock on Sunday morning, that was our vision. That was our plan. And we had a pretty good plan coming into this thing. We had planned it for months before. You can't just show up and try to rock something like this. You got to have planning. You got to have a team behind you. You got to have all the resources that you need. Well, long story short, we get through the first day okay, and then the proverbial hits the fan. And my brother-in-law hits the deck on the side of the trail. He's all locking up. He doesn't know where he can go. He can make it. It's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We're going through the middle of a national park, come up on a herd of buffalo who are sleeping, and not exactly any trees to hide behind. So going through there, running, trying to figure out what the heck we're going to do. Getting to that next day, that second day, and having to make the real call of, can we actually get this done? We were on track for our A goal. That kind of fizzled away. We were still on track for our B goal. We thought we could do it, but we're like, hey, we're kind of close on this one. So from a team standpoint, overall, our goal, in addition to hitting those milestones, we're trying to raise $200,000, right, as part of this charity, this contribution. And so, we're broadcasting this thing out. We're making sure, like, hey, we got to get some of the team of the four of us across that line. So we had to make a tough call as leaders, that vision, where it was, okay, myself, my brother-in-law, and my father-in-law, I'm going to get them to 100 miles. My good friend who we trained with, Michael, we're going to send him ahead. This is about mile 75 or 80. You got to finish this damn thing on behalf of the entire team. Like, I'm going to get them to, we negotiated, said, look, we're going to get you guys to mile 100. Let's get you that 100 miler, get you that sweet buckle that you want to have there to be able to accomplish that. I'll meet you up and we'll finish it later. So long story short, met up with Michael. We wound up, hitting it to the end there, hit our goal. We just missed that C goal. So we did not hit A. We did not get the 100 miles done we did not get the whole thing in 48 hours. We got them to that 100-mile goal. We finished the 144, but it was just over 48 hours. Right. So we didn't get that fastest known time, but you know what? I call that team success. We got it done. We got to the end of it. We hit our fundraising goal, but it was tough. It was tough to accept that as leaders, to go out there. You have a vision, how we actually communicated that out, how we work with each other to get that done. So I talk about that because it's a frame of reference that I use, that I think you can use as leaders to think about setting those goals. One of the other ways, when you think back to that, why do change efforts fail? And it's the inability to set the small wins along the way, those A, B, and C goals. So getting to your finish line, yes, but how do you hit those small wins along the way? How do you encourage the people that are around you to support you in that vision and that mission and that journey as you're going forward there? So think back to that word that you put down as your vision. Think back to, okay, what are those things that are going to help you get to that vision? So I talk about an A goal, a B goal, and a C goal. So what I'm going to ask you to do here is take about another 30 seconds, 30 to 60 seconds, and think about, what are those things today that you're experiencing in your leadership journey, leading your chapters, right? What are those things that you're driving that are going to help you to get to that one-word vision of yourself? And then think about that A goal, that B goal, that C goal. What are those things that are going to help drive you to that thing that you really want to be 5 years or 10 years from now? What is that A goal that you think you can hit? What is that B goal that you want to hit, and what is that C goal that you want to hit. And that could be short term, that could be coming out here next semester, this next year. It's kind of hard to think much past that with all this crazy stuff that's going on virtually, and the virus going on, pandemic, and all the economic ups and downs that we've been seeing. But what is that A goal, that B goal, that C goal that you really see for yourselves here in the short term, and then even a little bit more longer term? Then I'll just give you another 15 or 20 seconds to put some of those down there. And you're going to have a good chance in your breakouts to put some of this stuff to play, to have some more structure to it. This is just to get some of those creative juices flowing as you think about, really what those are. And feel free to keep writing on those. I'll riff here for about another 4 or 5 minutes, and then give some open mic, some Q&A as you think through that. One of the biggest parts of change efforts failing, in addition to, number one, you got to have a vision. So it starts with you, right? I'm fond of that saying, like when you're on the plane, back when we used to fly. I don't know if you've been on a plane in a while, but put your own oxygen mask on first. For me with, a couple of kids, like that resonates pretty well. But what it really means is you got to take care of you. That's why I said start with your vision and where you want to go, and put that anchor in the sand of where that is. The second thing is, how do you communicate that vision? So I want you, my ask, once you codify what that vision, that word is, how do you go public with that? Doesn't have to be to everybody, but you've got your best 3, 4, 5 friends. I call them a personal board of directors, the folks that are really going to direct you and guide you and be that sounding board, call you out when you're being a dumbass, or challenge you and push you to that next level when you need it. Think about who you can really share that with, communicate that vision with. But these will all apply back to your chapter, your life, the things that you really want to get after when you think about that vision. The last thing I really want to talk about is, how do you empower others? How do you get other folks, rowing in the boat with you? As Sean mentioned, I was a rower in college, and there's way too many overplayed rowing analogies and pretty pictures of teamwork and all that. But the reality is, you got to have people moving in sync. You all have to understand exactly what that vision is. What is each person's role in that vision, and how do they help you achieve it? So I'll ask you to do a virtual show of hands. You can use a thumbs up button or one of the little keys on your Zoom there. So, and be honest now, how many of you do the work more than you delegate the work? So how many of you feel like you're more doing the work, put it on my back, get it done, versus delegating it out? I see a lot of hands. I see a lot of thumbs up. Probably one of the toughest lessons that you'll have to learn as a leader. And especially as a leader of a group, to get that vision down of how do you get others behind you to do the work and to really believe in what that work is and how you do it. So how do you make that turn? How do you do it? You're going to spend a lot of time with that here in your breakouts as you go forward. And, it's something that is going to have to be at the top of your list. If it wasn't one of your A, B's, or C, make sure it's in there, if not explicitly, something that, to help inform that. Because it's one of the toughest things that I've had to learn, as a leader, be it as, starting a chapter, starting the chapter up at Columbia, being on the executive board, going to these Carlson Leadership Academies, you get all these ideas, like you're going to have all this stuff. Hopefully you're having good banter back and forth after these sessions. And you're going to go back and you're like, yes, let's go, let's do this. And you're going to be a little Tasmanian devil, flying around out there trying to get all this stuff done by yourself. And there's a saying that I love, and it's very, applicable when I think about some of the crazy races that we do, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So I'll say it again. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I tell you that story about the Mata Hay. Any one of us on ourselves, we couldn't have made it to that finish line, right? Working together, maybe going at little different paces at that time or whatever it was. We got to that end. We may not have hit the exact fastest known time by an hour and a half, to which, of course, all like, we've got to do it again. But that's the side part. We got it done. We worked together. We finished it. We hit our fundraising goal. We raised over $200,000 to support Fanconi Anemia. We've raised over the last 7 8 years over $500,000 to support Fanconi Anemia. That's why we do these crazy challenges. But the reason we're able to get it done is we have a community around us. We've made things bigger than ourselves. And how many of us, we all want to be part of something that's bigger than ourselves. That's why I would imagine you all are part of SIGEP, because that's something that is bigger than any one of us, bigger than the sum of its parts. That's something that when you think about all the aspects, those pieces that come together by being a part of something like that, all the things, the momentum that you can build. So really think about that. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I'll close with this. We've talked about a good bit here. We had some leadership lessons, the good, the bad, and the ugly from some of the ones that resonated with you all, and kind of how that worked out. Talked a little bit about vision, communicating that vision. Gave you just a little teaser about you can't do it all alone. For me, I lead an organization of over 100 people. Work every day thinking about our client experience, thinking about how we're going to deliver that to literally tens of millions of clients across North America. How do we find a way to make that better? You think I could even come close to doing that by myself or with 5 people or 10 people? Not a chance. It isn't happening. How do we set that vision for what we want to do? How do we get the team stacked against that? How do we talk about the vision and what that means day in, day out? Talked about those small wins. It's got to be the small wins along the way, because visions take time. When you set big, hairy, audacious goals, those things way out on the horizon, it's tough to see the progress day in, day out. If we're training for one of these ultra races, it's months worth, hundreds, if not thousands of miles of training. And sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, it's exhausting. So you got to set yourself some small wins along the way and make sure you look back that folks are behind you, that they're with you, because it's pretty easy to get out far and, you're leading and you're out and you look and, oh crap, where did everybody go? Like, I thought I had my leadership team with me. I don't have them. Or, oh, I thought I had the chapter with me. I don't have them. So just pull all those things together. Recognize that, what we're here together, me having done this now for, 25 years from when I was sitting in your shoes, getting to see, so many amazing SIGEPs and leaders come through. Set that vision for yourself. Put your own oxygen mask on first. Second thing is, set the vision and make sure that you have your A, B, and C goals. If you don't hit A, maybe you can hit B. If you don't hit B, maybe you can hit C. Make sure you always have those and you're stacked out. And then 3, just make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people who can get you there. Make sure you're always checking your wingman. Make sure you got them right there and you're not running too far away. And then putting it all together, it's exciting what I think we can all accomplish. I just get so excited being with you here virtually. Physically is always better, but this is pretty cool. And, together, I really believe that we can inspire and change the world. So it's been great here, Sean. I'll see if there's any Q&A. I know you guys have some breakouts to hop into. We'll love just a couple of minutes if folks want to ask any questions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Zar. For anyone out there, if you've got questions, things you want to ask, things you want to learn more about, we'll take about 5 minutes here for any Q&A that you may have. If you do have those, type them up in the chat. Feel free to send that to the entire group, or if you want to send that privately to me, that would be to Sean Cable or to Zar. We'll take questions as they come in. Well, just to kick one off, Zar, I've got one for you, so I'll put you on the hot spot. What's your one word for your vision of yourself?
So it's a great one, because I just had to do this for myself because I do it, and it's accountability. And that word, it means a lot of things to me. It means a lot of things, I think, for the people that I have the fortune and privilege of leading. but it's accountability, you know, and there's a quick definition I'll share with you is accountability is doing what you need to do when you need to do it, when no one else is around. Doing what you need to do when you need to do it, when no one else is around. That's why you get up at 3:45 in the morning this morning and go, you know, bang out 13 miles before work. No one told me to do that, right? It's showing up when you need to show up, you know, and it's just something that I'm big on quotes in case you didn't realize it, but I'm also big on, you know, the habits and routines you learn in college. So where all you are right now are the habits and routines that you're going to carry with you the rest of your life. So be diligent about that, you know, make sure that things you're doing, hold yourselves accountable. And it's something that'll resonate with you as far as you go. It's like we got a couple here.
Absolutely.
I like it. We got a few. So here, I'll pick some out of the mix here. So this one's from Jacob O'Connor. What's your biggest mistake in leadership, and how did you overcome it? So that's a great one. And this is, you know, I always say the lessons you need to learn the most are the ones you teach the best. You know, and for me, you know, when I think about, you know, a failure, you know, of leadership, you know, I'll pick one from a rollout, you know, campaign. Thought we had, you know, something happened a few years ago. We built this great new technology. We actually had some patents on it, and you know, I mistakenly went with the field of dreams of like, oh, if you build it, they will come. I mean, this thing is just awesome, and like, why wouldn't, you know, other people? And I didn't get enough people around me to help deliver it. It was a technology. It was a planning software, Planify. You know, until I stood back and was like, why aren't people like getting this? Why aren't they adopting it? Why aren't our branch teams like? It's like, well, number one, they didn't know about it, the vision, right? Number two, it was under communicated, the vision of what it is and why should people care. And then number three, you know, we didn't set specific goals and measures for what are we actually trying to accomplish with this. So what happened was in its first couple of months, it wound up being a solution in search of a problem versus being something that was actively, you know, asked for and desired. So we course corrected. We had to quickly go out and reset the vision. We had to basically start from ground zero. Let's just call it was a failed launch. We had to go through full relaunch. We lost about 6 or 7 months. We course corrected. We communicated it better. We communicated it more consistently. Back to that second part of under communicating the vision. I'll give you another quote, right? And maybe you'll pick one or two of these up as you go is, you know, people need to be reminded 10 times more than they need to be instructed. People need to be reminded 10 times more than they need to be instructed. What that means is whether that's from a sales standpoint or a vision standpoint or from a whatever standpoint, remind people, right? Remind them what you're doing, remind them why you're doing it, remind them what is the path we've taken, remind them why are we on this journey, remind them where are we going, remind them all those small wins along the way. So it was a reframe for me, and that was about 6 years ago. It's fortunately a mistake I haven't repeated, but it's something that a little trigger in my head of like, don't assume, right? And if you build it, they will come is not a strategy. Don't try to put it all on your back. You got to make sure your folks are around you. I like it. So we got a few other ones here. I'll see if I can grab one or two of these before we go. So this one's from John Donnelly from UConn. Mentioned as a leader, you want to look back and have people follow you. How do you inspire people to follow a vision? Can you give an example? You know, if you go back to what the one word I said, which was you know, accountability is mine, and always keeping that in the back of my head. What I also do for my team, my leadership team, we actually have an offsite tomorrow morning where we're going to go through. It's January, so you know, give me a thumbs up. Or how many of you had an officer transition retreat virtually or in presence or something to start out the year? So a lot of you have. It's kind of our version of that, starting out the year strong here, and we do. And I have them each go through, you know, their that word, but then there's that why statement. So I'll read you mine. This gets to the vision question, John, is don't just do different, do better, push the envelope, challenge others, learn from them, grow with them, live life with balance and compassion, with the knowledge that we can all make a profound difference, right? That's my why, right? My leaders' whys might be a little different. That's their personal. That's why I had you all start with, what's that word for you as a leader? I have that word, it's accountable, and the people that I have the privilege of leading on a day-to-day basis. But what's your why for you? And then what I would encourage you to do is take those two pieces, that word for you as a leader and that why of what drives you, and make darn sure that that's connected to the organizations that you're a part of, that the relationships that you have in your life, be it, personally, professionally, out there, university-wise, work-wise, whatever it is. So how do you inspire people to follow a vision? I believe you have to get people together that have a commonality of vision. And that doesn't mean people who all think the same way or look the same way. That is, how do you get people that are all together pulling in that same direction, that starts with them? Do they have that personal rock inside of them that says, this is who I am and this is why I do what I do? I don't care what it is. We have people that are committed to that and want to make a difference. Like, we'll bring them together and we'll figure out, how do we then tie that to the vision and to what they do? I would encourage you to think about your executive boards, your leadership teams. What is their why? And then keep connecting that thing that makes them tick back to what they do. Your VP of finance, what gets him out of bed in the morning? Make sure that you're keep pulling on those buttons, those threads. Whether it's your house manager or your Sigma Challenge coordinator, or whoever it is, as a leader, get to know the folks that you're responsible for, right? And that's a big word. You are responsible for these people, and that vision, you connect it back to what makes them.
Thanks, Zar. That's great advice.
So I think we may break into small groups here, but want to say thank you again and give you a final opportunity for any closing comments or one last zinger for the group.
For sure, it's just a privilege to be with you all. I mean, this is the future, of our country that we're having the privilege of being together here virtually. Definitely hit me up on LinkedIn. Like I said, don't be shy. Send me notes. Send me emails. Whatever. Happy to connect with you. And you're making a difference just by virtue of, number one, your position that you have volunteered for. Yes, you were elected to your role, but you thank you for doing that. That's amazing. And then never forget the people that you're working for. Make sure it's about the vision and it's about them. Think about that one thing for you as a leader. And man, I think you guys are in such a great spot, and I wish you all the best.